Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. I am Cassidy Goldman. Thank you for joining me this morning on Positive Impact, where we inform, impact, and inspire. And we do it for you, the community we are a part of. We are beginning Positive Impact with a multi-week discussion on human trafficking. Each week, I will have a special guest with me to share their experience with human trafficking. I will officially introduce him later, but today I am joined by James Kenney, an employee at the Corrections Office in Osceola County. So I'm going to let a few more people hop on, and then we'll get started. If you have any questions about human trafficking, feel free to go ahead and enter them in the comments, and we'll try our best to answer them today or in a future episode. So I'm going to share this per usual on my personal social to be able to get this out to as many people as possible, and you can feel free to do the same as well. Alrighty. And again, for anyone joining, this is a brand new series called Positive Impact, and we are starting a multi-week discussion on human trafficking. And if you have any questions about human trafficking, feel free to go ahead and drop them in the comments. Alrighty. There we go, throwing it up on my personal social. Again, feel free to do the same. And we'll give it a few more seconds, and then we'll get started. So for anybody new that's hopping on, this is a brand new series, Positive Impact. We're going to be talking over the next multiple weeks about human trafficking, and I'll have a special guest with me each week. This week I have an employee from the Corrections Office in Osceola County, James Kenney. So if you have any questions about human trafficking or specifically for James Kenney, go ahead and throw them in the comments, and we will try our best to answer them in this episode or in a future episode. I'm going to go ahead and throw up our intro video, and then we'll get started. So since we've had some more people jump on, this is Positive Impact. It is a multi-week series that we are starting, and we are beginning with a discussion on human trafficking over the next couple of weeks. So if you have any questions about human trafficking, go ahead and throw them in the comment section. And I do have some stats for you before we jump into our interview with James Kenney for today. So human trafficking is a crime that's hidden in plain sight. There are an estimated 20.9 to 48.5 million people enslaved in human trafficking around the world today. It's a $150 billion industry that profits from sex trafficking, forced labor, bonded labor, domestic and voluntary servitude, and child soldiers. Despite popular belief, only a small percentage of victims have been abducted. Most were deceived by a false job offer or fake love, and some were even sold by their family or friends. The first step in breaking the cycle of human trafficking is being aware, and today's guest, James Kenney, is going to teach us the signs to spot human trafficking. Alrighty. So thank you so much for joining me, James Kenney. How are you today?
Hi, Cassidy. I'm great. Thanks for having me and giving me this opportunity to share such great information.
My pleasure. I'm so excited for what you have to teach us today. So how would you define human trafficking?
Well, the official definition is any type of forced labor or sexual acts that are committed through force, fraud, or coercion. So it's the actual act of forcing someone into doing something they do not want to do, or enticing them through some type of a fraudulent act, or maybe through fear, the idea that someone else could be harmed if they don't participate. And one of those three items has to be met in order for it to be considered a human trafficking act, even though it may be illegal in other ways.
So what are the signs, since I know that you know a lot about this and you speak on it, what are the signs that we should be looking for to spot human trafficking?
So there are a lot of different things that you could look for, and I guess it really depends on where you might see a victim. Um, because you could see a victim at riding the bus, you could see a victim in the grocery store. Maybe you're at a motel or a hotel yourself, and a victim could be right there. So there are things that you might be able to see. Usually, it's a person who may not be able to make eye contact with you. Um, they could be in the company of an older male, if it's a female victim, afraid to speak with you. You could see a tattoo. Many times they brand their victims so that they're tied to them. Maybe someone talking to the adult that they're with and calling them daddy. That would be a sign that they've been taught that that's their requirement to do. There's a lot of different fear tactics that they utilize, uh, the predators, to make sure that this victim stays involved in the game and doesn't attempt to make any action to get help or to run away.
So to be looking for those tattoos, people that won't make eye contact with an older male, possibly calling him daddy.
Yeah, and things like you might want to engage them in conversation. They're kind of afraid to speak to you for fear they may say something incorrect, or
Mm.
if you're in a service type industry, you're looking for identification. They can't produce their own ID. The other person is holding it for them. Um, it Different things like that would stand out to you.
All right. So what is the most common way that you've seen victims become involved with human trafficking?
So there are a lot of different ways that could happen. Unfortunately, you have younger teenagers that run away from their families, and they have nowhere to turn. They would be the absolute easy target for a predator. They have no place to go, no place to sleep, no food, no money, and the predator is more than happy to sweep in and provide all of those services for the potential victim. Um, the internet, we're using it now, but it can certainly be a weapon. Um, you know, we give our young people all of these phones that are fantastic, but they have easy, quick access to the internet. There are all kinds of easy phone apps out there that are appealing to the younger people, but they don't realize the dangerous impact. The fact that you're giving a predator direct access to you, where they can provide you with false information or pull information away from you where they can get to you easy access. Um, that's usually the simplest way to fall victim to someone. In terms of the domestic servitude or um, forced labor, you have folks that will bring people across the border from other countries and then withhold their identification until they can work off the money that it costs to bring them here and drive them to work in labor situations with little to no money.
Mm. So if we suspect human trafficking, who should we call? Is there, I know there's the National Human Trafficking Hotline. Is there a local organization that we could call in Osceola County?
So you can always call the hotline. The National Human Trafficking Hotline is 888-373-7888. And of course, they've made it even easier, so you can just send a text message. That is 233-733. Pretty easy to do. And of course, just you can dial 911. There is not a direct number to call for any of our local law enforcement agencies, but 911 will get someone to respond and assist. Um, the I'm the reason why I'm here participating is I'm the lead participant for the Osceola County Human Trafficking Task Force. We are now working directly with the Orange County Task Force and building a much larger organization that provides outreach, education, training, and resources. But even though we all work in conjunction with each other, we don't have a direct call for help number. Um, it's important to know too, if I can kind of go off a little bit here, Cassidy, that the
Definitely.
the idea of getting access for these victims to more assistance is going more broad stream. We are working right now in conjunction with the Lynx bus service. They are set to kick off a very loud and proud human trafficking campaign that will provide signage and assistance right on their buses at all of the bus stops throughout the Central Florida area. There will be a hotline number there and access to education. There is training that's set up for all of the employees with the Lynx bus service. And I believe, and I might be speaking a little ahead, but I think that we're even moving that to the train system as well. So there's more to come. And you'll see probably the first of the year, a large campaign that's going to come out that is so exciting, that will provide resources and information where those that are in fear can hopefully have another resource to turn to get help.
That's excellent. So I know human trafficking is something that we think happens in foreign countries, happens to people that we don't know. So how have you seen it specifically in Osceola County?
Yeah, it is so easy to look at what you see on TV and in movies and think it doesn't happen here, but Osceola County, unfortunately, is a really ripe area for it to happen. We are right here at the footstep of all of these large theme parks, the beaches. There's so many exciting things here in Central Florida that draw people in with the idea that there's a great thing here for them. If you think back years and years ago, people used to do the same thing. They would run to Hollywood, California, right? The idea, oh, let's get in the movies. And you get there and things don't always work out, and then you're left without resources. And the same thing unfortunately happens right here in Osceola County. They come here with the idea that they can get a job at a theme park, or it's so exciting, we can be at the beach all the time. But without the rest of the resources to survive, negative things can happen. So it's a fantastic area. For us, the tourism industry is fantastic, but it can also have a downside. If you take a drive out there, you'll even see little stores that are set up that they call, spas. Well, they're not always the special massage type of business that you might think it is. They unfortunately provide additional services, and they use people in that forced labor without the resources for that individual to leave and go find a better job or a place to live. And they're forced to work there and provide sex acts that are completely against the law. But we're a great hotbed. It's a great place to live, but it also has a downside.
Mm-hmm. And just as some numbers or kind of a relation, as a statistic I didn't mention earlier, is depending on what you look at, Florida is actually the second or third state in the entire United States for human trafficking cases reported.
Yeah, it's terrible. And those are real statistics. It's not just somebody making it up. It's the numbers that are reported between the hotline and in the state of Florida, the Department of Children and Families, the number of juvenile cases that are found. And we know what our situation here is in Osceola County as well, with folks that have no place to turn and they're living in these hotels. That's a perfect place for something like this to happen, to break out, where a family is living there and the parents don't always pay attention with their children because they're working. They're not there 24 hours a day. And those young individuals can fall victim to this just as easily.
So I know a big discussion that's been happening and campaign over on social media is about Pornhub's involvement in human trafficking. So how have you seen pornography play a role in the human trafficking?
So with the ease of having pornography, right up on your screen every single day, as much as you want, with no one monitoring it. Cassidy, it's not like when I was younger where, it's very difficult to get a hold of something like that. Just to look at a magazine was one thing, never mind being able to see videos. Now at the click of a button, and nobody's telling you that it's wrong or improper, and it's right there and accessible. Pornhub makes it even more difficult to manage or to control, because on Pornhub, most of their content is user generated content. There's no restrictions on what can be uploaded, and there are no restrictions in terms of looking at the age of the individuals that are involved. Um, Unfortunately, you can take a video of someone that is underage and upload it, and no one tells you it's wrong. No one attempts to take it down. And within hours, hundreds of thousands of people can be clicking on it and watching it. That's what has been the force behind the petitions and the urge to get Pornhub taken down. They have a couple of sister companies that have already been taken off, and federal charges have been applied, but with Pornhub, not yet. There are agencies, they have 118 confirmed cases of child sexual abuse where they've been able to get back and figure out who the victim is and confirm. It's the idea that there's no restraints on what they upload. That's the difficult part. The ease of the sexual content, it can certainly give somebody the more access to the sexual content that will make them more excited to have it personally, which would then cause them to go to these other personal ads that are posted. And the personal ads that are posted are not always someone that is willingly doing that, and that's the problem. So that feeds right into the human trafficking industry.
Mm-hmm. I know I've seen stories across platforms of victims where this has been an issue. They are fighting for months and months with lawsuit cases, and sometimes no avail because Pornhub still won't take it down and there's no action. So thank you for your insight. And my last question I have for you today is, in your opinion, what is the best thing that we can do to help?
I guess the easy answer is just awareness, being aware. You're in a city, not even here in Osceola County, but you travel and you go to a motel or a hotel, and there is foot traffic in and out of a room that's nearby you. And yeah, it's keeping you up at night, but what else is happening? That foot traffic back and forth, that's usually a good indicator. Somebody is there selling sex. Now, whether it is just a woman that is willingly doing it because she chose to do that to make money, it's still against the law. Or if it's someone that is forced into that situation, speak up and say something. If you are listening and you work in the hospitality industry and you know that somebody is at your hotel with that open door, you can see the foot traffic, you know what's happening. There's a 35-year-old man that comes down and pays for the room for somebody who's 22. That's an indicator. You got to speak up and say something. You just can't let it happen. In the next 6 months or so, you will see a greater campaign at hotels and motels as well. A new law comes into effect as of 21 that requires specific signage and training for all of the hospitality locations in Florida. If you work in that industry, get involved, pay attention. A young woman comes to your counter and she needs help, but she's afraid to talk to you. Well, she's afraid because if she says something wrong, she's going to get beat later or not get her dinner. So speak up, get help, call 911.
Thank you. So if you're looking, for anyone watching, looking for more information on human trafficking, we'll be posting an article this afternoon with the facts I listed earlier in the episode, along with the sources that they come from. And if you're ready to join the fight to end it, go ahead and visit enditmovement.com for ways to get involved today. They are a coalition of a number of organizations that you can help out with, and kind of a hub of a bunch of ways that you can get involved in different parts of the country. And some of them even all over the world. So thank you again for joining me today, James. I'm Cassidy Goldman with Positively Osceola on Positive Impact, and we're making a positive difference in Osceola County. So thank you so much, y'all.